Baltimore Ravens started this season 0-2, and it was looking real rough. But now they sitting at 11-5. While it is about how you start, especially in the NFL season, that has a lot to do with it. But it's even more important how you continue and obviously how you finish. And the Baltimore Ravens are in prime position right now. Obviously, they're in the playoffs, but they're in prime position to actually win the AFC North. And all they got to do is beat the Browns, beat the DTR-led Cleveland Browns. Team Keep It Clean, that only comes after they won 3 games in 11 days, 1 against the New York Giants, an away game, 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers at the crib, but then 3 against the Houston Texans at another away game. Baltimore Ravens took care of business, and they looking real good right now. And this was a game against the Houston Texans where all 1, 2, 3 phases of football, they came together. Team Keep It Clean, we're getting ready to talk about it. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. We are less than 300 subscribers away from 80,000, 80K. We right there. But leave a like on the video because it helps out the channel a ton. Subscribe, because I don't want y'all missing any updates with our favorite football team. Now, let's get into it, and let's start with the offense. Team Keep It Clean. Todd Monken, give it up to him. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Keith Mitchell even got involved. I know Rasheen Ali, he ended up exiting the game with injury, but I think he should be okay. This was a game where Justice Hill was absent due to the concussion that he suffered last week when he made an amazing catch, and then he made a lot of yak after the catch, and then he got hit and landed right on the back of his head. So it was going to be Derrick Henry, Keith Mitchell, and Rasheen Ali. Derrick Henry, the Baltimore Ravens, they started off running that ball with Derrick Henry, and they really didn't stop. They did not stop at all, and we loved it because it was working, and they weren't like, you know what, Derrick Henry's working, let's get away from it. Oh, Derrick Henry's working, let's go deviate and do something else. No, Ravens were like, look, Derrick Henry is working. We are going to stick with Derrick Henry throughout the entire game. Because even like, I remember a drive in the fourth quarter, toward the very end of the game when they just milking the clock and whatnot, they were running Keith Mitchell. Then they brought Derrick Henry back after he had been out for a while. They brought him in for one play. Then they would say, all right, Derrick Henry, go ahead back to the sideline again. But Derrick Henry in this game, he had 27 carries. Woo, that's a lot. For 147 yards. Woo. You know what? For a Derrick Henry game, that's a good amount now. Like, and that just shows how spoiled we are as Ravens fans that acquired Derrick Henry this offseason. That a 27 carry, 147 yard game. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's pretty good. It's really good. Derrick Henry has been so consistent with the Baltimore Ravens this season, especially when he's been given those opportunities. It's been a beautiful thing to see. He has been such a significant addition to this Baltimore Ravens offense, and he has made them just so much better. He's made the lives of a lot of people around him that much easier. So shout out to Derrick Henry, and he finally got back into the end zone today. Now, speaking of making people's jobs easier, Derrick Henry makes a lot of people's jobs easier. But Lamar Jackson is somebody that makes Derrick Henry's job easier as well. Lamar Jackson in this game, what more needs to be said, man? That MVP, I know Josh Allen is the favorite. That needs to be changed ASAP. Lamar Jackson continues to show just how valuable he is, not only to the Baltimore Ravens, obviously to the Baltimore Ravens, but really to the NFL, man. Lamar he is that guy. He's the best quarterback in the league right now. He's just been doing his thing. And today, again, it's crazy because with Lamar Jackson too, it's the same thing. He went 10 for 15 for 168 yards. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool. All right. He had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, got sacked once, had a QB rating of 143.9. So if he has the right kind of game next week or against the Cleveland, well, been in about a week and a half, in 11 days against the Cleveland Browns at the crib, then he could set the record. He could both break and set the record for the highest QB rating in a season. So, that's kind of exciting. When you say it out loud, like I've been thinking about it and I've been seeing it. I saw graphics of it and whatnot. But when you actually say it out loud, it's like, that boy. Look, Lamar Jackson has been amazing this season. He really has. And it's like, it's almost kind of sad. It's only one game left. It's only one game in the regular season left. But that means that we that much closer to the Baltimore Ravens hosting that Lombardi Trophy on February 9th. But anyway, Lamar Jackson, when you look at that game, 10 for 15, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, you're like, oh, that's cool. And even that, it shows how spoiled we are as Ravens fans. Having Lamar Jackson as our quarterback, it's next level type of stuff, man. Like, you think about this, there are a lot of other teams, oh my goodness, what they would do to have Lamar Jackson as their quarterback, because he cleans up so much stuff. He cleans up so many messes. He doesn't, a play is never dead with Lamar Jackson. He has so much ability to keep the play going, and there's just endless possibilities with Lamar Jackson. He's the best quarterback doing it, man. He really, really is. And so many teams, they would love it. Now, when we think about his passing touchdowns, we'll get into the other one later, but when we think about his passing touchdowns, there was that short pass to Mark Andrews for a touchdown, but you think about the one to Isaiah Likely. Well, Isaiah Likely, it was, I don't remember the down, but it was around the goal line, maybe like 3-4 yards behind the goal line, something like that. But Lamar Jackson snapped the ball, had pressure in his face, scrambled out to his right, had Texans all next to him. Lamar Jackson made them miss. I was thinking, oh, he getting ready to throw the ball away. Lamar Jackson say, no, I ain't throwing nothing away. Nothing. Now, there have been times when we've been like, I know a lot of people have said, a lot of times, Lamar Jackson, he holds on to the ball way too long. He needs to get rid of the ball. I bet they ain't say it on that play, did they? No, they certainly didn't. But this was a nice game because on that play, Lamar Jackson, again, 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times out of 10 for other quarterbacks, that's a dead play. They get rid of that, they throw it away, or it could even be an interception for some too. But Lamar Jackson said, nope, not on my watch, not tonight. This play will stay alive, and we are going to finish it. And they certainly did. It's a beautiful thing because, oh, man, see, Lamar Jackson's connection, his chemistry, obviously with Mark Andrews, his chemistry is like way up there, way up. But with Isaiah Likely, it's up there too. Not as high as Mark Andrews, but it's pretty high up there. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't even think it's just because they tight ends. I think that it's because those guys are big bodies. Now, Lamar Jackson obviously got an excellent connection with Zay Flowers too. He ain't a big body. He got an excellent connection with Rashad Bateman as well. He ain't a big body, but it's different with Mark Andrews and even Isaiah Likely too, man. It's something else because they add that extra element to where they can go up and get it. They can really go up and get it. And even then on the play to Mark Andrews where he caught it and ran it for like, I think 67 yards. Even on that play, Lamar Jackson, pressure in his face, boom, what's new? He had to scramble around, and then to throw that pass and to hit Mark Andrews in stride too, to allow Mark Andrews to turn up the field and go 60-something yards. Like, they got it, man. They really, really do. Beautiful. Something else that I appreciated in this game. Speaking of Derrick Henry earlier, I love when they get him involved in the passing game. I love it because it adds another element and it makes the offense unpredictable. I love it. So that was beautiful to see him get those 2 catches. Keaton Mitchell, he got involved in the passing game. Like in the passing game tonight, it's like everybody had like 1 or 2 catches. That's it. There wasn't no one person that just kept getting catch after catch after. No, everybody had 1 or 2 catches. Mark Andrews, 2 catches for 68 yards. Zay Flowers, and a touchdown. Zay Flowers, 2 catches for 31 yards. Keaton Mitchell, 1 catch for 28 yards. Derrick Henry, 2 catches for 18. Anthony Miller, 1 catch for 16 yards. And I saw somebody tweet. They're like, oh, Anthony Miller has officially passed Deontay Johnson in Ravens' career receiving yards. Ooh, the pettiness right there. But hold up. And we're going to talk about this later on, too. But I know y'all saw the clip where Ravens play Lamar Jackson, Isaiah Likely, Zay Flowers, and I know it was somebody else too, but they were all around Deontay Johnson giving him hugs, like real hugs too. Not no like, oh, hey sir, how's it going? No. Like real hugs. Like when you see somebody that you ain't seen in a little minute that you got love for, like they were showing like real love to Deontay Johnson and he was showing it right back to them. It was real, man. So it just makes whatever. We talked about this during the stream. We don't know what happened. And it's easy to be like, oh, yeah, Deontay Johnson, he ain't going to the game. Oh, that's messed up. But there's some things that went down that we have absolutely no clue about. We don't know. And will we ever find out? No clue. But it's just, so they clearly ain't got no beef or no issues with Deontay Johnson. They ain't got no problems with him. It was all love. But anyway, back to the passing game. Rashad Bateman had 1 catch for 12 yards. Isaiah Likely 1 catch, which was that touchdown for 9 yards. Tylan Wallace 1 catch for 2 yards. So, yeah, everybody had either. The most catches somebody had was 2. And that was it. Everybody had at least 1 catch, and that was pretty much it. So, nothing crazy from the passing game, but good enough. But why wasn't it crazy from the passing game? Well, that's because the running game was just working so well. And we talked about Derrick Henry's contributions in the run game, but let's also talk about Lamar Jackson. Now, he only had 4 carries. That was it. The man had 4 carries, so not too much. But he had 87 yards. He averaged 21.8 yards per carry, and his longest carry was that 48-yard touchdown run. And how did that 48-yard touchdown run happen? It came from them establishing the run with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry became such just a threat in the run game. And I take that back. Not even a threat. Because a threat is just words without action. Derrick Henry, he was all action tonight. So he wasn't just a threat. It was real. So he made it happen. He was making it happen in the run game tonight. And then they just kept establishing it, kept going to him over and over and over. So when Lamar kept it, he took off. And initially I was like, Lamar showing us that speed now for real. But then I saw the replay. And I said, I got to take that back. Because Lamar was looking back. He was looking back at the defender. So you can't run full speed when you got your head turned around. And then Jamison Hensley asked him after the game. He was like, Lamar, they clocked you at your fastest time, I think, ever. At least this season. But he might have said ever. But either way, they clocked him at his fastest time. He was like, how fast was it? He was like 21 miles and something per hour. And Lamar was like, that's cool. He said, I was jogging. And the thing is, he's not lying because he had his head turned around. He was running, but he was looking back at the defender just like that, man. So it's like this dude he's just such a baller, man. And he makes so much stuff look effortless and look easy. That's why I continue to say, us as Ravens fans, we are extremely, extremely spoiled to have Lamar Jackson as our quarterback. When they finish this year, and they win it all, it's going to be such a wonderful feeling. We're going to be so happy for this team, so happy for the coaching staff, so happy for every single player, but especially for Lamar Jackson. And the reason I say him, and obviously it's not just about him. It's not, because there's 52 other people on the team. There's also the 16 on the practice squad, so it's a lot of moving parts. But I think one of the biggest reasons when Lamar gets that Super Bowl, we're going to be extremely happy for him is because of how his career has went, how it started, how he was treated and talked about and talked to before it even got started, how he's continued to be treated and talked about and talked to as his career has went on. And he just takes it in stride. Just keep being humble. Keep being just patient. Keep being super nice. Super approachable. Just he good people, man. So shout out to Lamar Jackson. He really is. Offensive line in this game, obviously run blocking. They were doing their thing for the most part. There were a couple plays here and there, but overall they did their thing for the most part. Pass blocking, it was that's been the theme of this season. Just been inconsistent. Again, a lot of these plays where Lamar makes a big play, it's him having to run around and get by some more time because the blocks, they don't hold up. And, I mean, it's unfortunate, but, I mean, it is what it is. So, hopefully they just continue to get better. They got one more regular season game, and then we get to see that playoff offensive line. Whether they remain the same or they do a little change up or whatnot, we'll see. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this team on the next level, that being the playoffs. I'm looking forward to seeing just how they act. I'm looking forward to watching them get some stuff together, clean up some stuff. It's just, I'm looking forward to it, man. I am very, very, very excited for just more Ravens football, but now the stakes will be higher So these games, like in the Giants game, we were chilling. We were like, oh, the Ravens don't mess around, but they took care of business. In the Steelers game, we were stressed and whatnot because the Steelers, it's Ravens Steelers. Like we ain't beat them with Lamar in forever. We ain't beat them in forever, but they got it done. So it's like, okay, cool. Hey, that's it right there. Let's get it. And in this game, coming into this game, I figured the Baltimore Ravens were gonna win, but I didn't think it was gonna be like this. So I had a little bit of worry, but then as the game was going, it was like we ended up just chilling, man. We had a lot of fun. They beat them 31-2. Like, what is that? 31-2. But moving forward, after the Browns game, like the feeling of ease, it ain't gonna be there no more at all because it's gonna be playoff time. So we'll see how things shake out. But one last thing with the offense, because the offense, while they scored 31 points, they also gave the Houston Texans 2. Ravens were backed up in their own territory against their own end zone, and they were on the 1 yard line. And the Ravens, they called a good play, handed it off to Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry, because Pat Ricard had blocked, and if Derrick Henry would have kept going the way that he was going, he probably would have got 2-3 yards. I mean, knowing him, he truck somebody and pull him forward, so he might have ended up getting like 6 or 8 yards. But Derrick Henry, he started running, but then he saw Pat Ricard had a nice block, and then he was like, oh, you know what? I can cut back and get even more. You know what? Let me do that. He cut back, and I think Kwame Lassiter, he came up out of nowhere, tackled Derrick Henry, grabbed them legs, boom, safety. That was all she wrote. But that was all Texans wrote because that was the only time that they scored. Let's switch it to the defense. Now, I know y'all see I got my Zay Flowers Human Joystick hoodie from Heart of the City. If you want to get yours, the link is down below in the description, and you can use code Ingraven30 to get 30% off. But guess what? Remember, ever since last week, since we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, we officially punched our ticket into the playoffs. Heart of the City, they want you to punch your ticket so you can get your own Heart of the City playoff hoodie. They are on sale now. They're getting ready to get shipped out next week. So make sure you order yours. And again, use code Ingraven30 to get 30% off so you can have it in time for playoff season, baby. The defense in this game was, I can't say perfect, but at the same time, I feel like I can, because how many points did they get? The defense gave up 0 points. They didn't give up a single point to this Texans offense. And it's something that I talked about during the game, and people were like, oh, don't jinx it, don't jinx it, don't jinx it. And I told them ain't no such thing as no jinx, man. But I had said that, and this was through the third quarter, I said in 11 quarters, the Baltimore Ravens have not given up a single touchdown to C.J. Stroud. Because remember, they played him in week 1. They didn't give him no touchdowns. Then they played him in the playoff game. They didn't give up no touchdowns to him. Then they played him in this game. Through 3 quarters, they had not given up a single touchdown to him. Then in the fourth quarter, he tried a little bit. It ain't work, and then they end up benching him. So the Ravens, in 3 games and 12 quarters, they have not given up a single touchdown to C.J. Stroud. The defense was amazing tonight. Well, in that game, they were great. The pass, they got 5 sacks, man. 5 sacks. And I know C.J. Stroud, the offensive line, they've been pretty bad this year. I think they said they going into this game, they gave up the second most sacks in the league. And that's rough. I think first got to be Caleb Williams, I believe. But it's been rough for C.J. Stroud. Like this season, I know people always, they talk about sophomore slump or whatnot. Man, I was thinking, like, C.J. Stroud, he probably ain't going to have that. But it's been rough, man. It really has been. This team, the Texans team, going into this game, they were 9-6, but they seem more like a 6-9 team to me. The way that they played, in my opinion, they didn't play like a team that's leading their division. And I get it. They did just lose Tank Dell last week, and it was a gruesome injury, and it was tough. And I know that's got to be mentally tough for them, especially C.J. Stroud. But they just seem like a team that's just like lost. They just seem really lost. They just really seem like out of it. And shout out to the Ravens for keeping them that way. But they just didn't seem like they had it all together. And the Baltimore Ravens, they just, from start to finish, they took care of business. The people who got the sacks, let's see, because they were taking turns. Roquan Smith, he got a sack. Super duper Kyle 2.0, Kyle Vanoy, he got a sack. So he's up to 11.5 sacks this season. Chris Board, he got a sack. He grabbed C.J. Stroud. He said, "You ain't going nowhere, my friend." Nnamdi Madubuike and Odafe Oweh, they both got sacks. Now with Odafe Oweh, he is close to getting double digits. We'll see if he can get it. We'll see if he can make it happen next week. Well, in a week and a half against the Browns. But happy for him, man, because I believe this is a career high. This is either a career high in sacks or ties a career high. But Odafe Oweh, there you go, man. They picked up that fifth-year option, and you proving your worth. You are. So I just love to see. I just love to see when this defense, when they all do their thing collectively. Now, probably the best play of the night, the Baltimore Ravens. C.J. Stroud threw a deep ball to Robert Woods. Marlon Humphrey was covering Robert Woods. The ball was up in the air. Marlon was looking back at the ball. Robert Woods was looking back at the ball. Marlon, he had his hands on Robert Woods while he looking back at the ball. They made a play, and the ref called pass interference. It was a terrible call. Even Gene Steratore, even he said, no, that shouldn't have been pass interference. Marlon Humphrey was playing the ball. Yeah, he had his hands on the receiver, but he didn't turn the receiver. He didn't disrupt the play of the receiver at all. That shouldn't have been a call. So I said, okay, Gene, you got it. You get it. But it was a terrible call, but it put the ball right on, definitely within the 10-yard line, but I think closer than that, maybe on the 5-yard line. But it gave the Texans amazing field position like that. So what happened? They ran it with Joe Mixon, got stopped. I think they ran it with Joe Mixon again, got stopped. Then on a third down, they threw it to, and whatever the receiver was who Marlon Humphrey was covering, I think it was John Mechie, but they threw it to him. Marlon Humphrey, pow, knocked that ball out. So then what happened? Fourth down, do they kick a field goal? Nope. They say, you know what, we going for it. I said, okay, Ravens got a chance to get a nice stop here. And what happened? Oh, my goodness. It was so beautiful. The Texans, it was a nice play design. Great play design. C.J. Stroud, he threw it to Joe Mixon, and they had a tight end in front of Joe Mixon to serve as a blocker. This is great play design. So I want to say Marlon Humphrey went in for the initial tackle. And he kind of started slowing him down a little bit, but he missed him. And then Ardarius Washington made the play. Tre'Davious White finished it off. And they stopped Joe Mixon like at the 1-yard line. They stopped him. And I was so happy. I was so happy because when we think about this Baltimore Ravens defense, you think about everything that they were for the first 10 weeks of the season and just how bad they were. They were such a terrible defense. They were giving up so many big plays over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And it was like nonstop. Every week, guys were just running wide open. Something I appreciated about the defense tonight, that it has been an issue even throughout the course of the season. Some games are better than others, but tonight, I think, in my opinion, might have been their best game. They were picking up the checkdowns. They were really picking up the checkdowns. Those little running backs that would come out of the backfield. I said, wow, this is great, man. This defense, they hitting that stride, man. Ever since that first Steelers game, the defense has been playing amazing football. They really have been. Kyle Hamilton, super duper Kyle, he ended up getting an interception tonight. It's just a beautiful thing to see Kyle Hamilton get interceptions, man. It's just beautiful to see him make plays just in general. He is just such an amazing player. Ravens have some really good players on every level of their defense. They had those players at the beginning of the season. They certainly have them now. But what was the difference? Well, you tell me. But anyway, the defense, they did their thing. Let's look at the run defense. So Texans rushing, they had 17 carries for 58 yards. That's it. They had 58 yards rushing. Average 3.4 yards. Okay, their longest run of the night was 9 yards. 9 yards. Now, obviously, with the Baltimore Ravens, a strategy that has worked for them a lot of times this season, which some people thought that it actually overrated the Baltimore Ravens run defense. Could that be true? It could a little bit, but their run defense is still really good. What would happen in a lot of these games, the Baltimore Ravens will go up. They will score a bunch of points. So if a team was trying to come back on them, they're not going to try to come back running. They're going to be throwing that football. So that's why the pass game was getting tested like crazy every week, and teams would just stop running the ball because time was not on their side. So that worked into the Ravens' favor for the majority of the games. Some of the games it didn't, but the majority of them it did. And this was one where it just worked. It was beautiful. C.J. Stroud in this game, 17 for 31. Not bad, not terrible. but not great. But it's whatever. For 185 yards and that one interception. Sacked 5 times, lost 37 yards on 5 sacks. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. Had a little injury scare for a second, but then he came back in the game, which was good. We were happy to see him back in the game. There was a play, I think it was Mechie. I think it was on the sideline where I think it was on the second down. Marlon Humphrey. I was wondering, like, why is this guy wide open? But the receiver caught the ball by the sideline. Marlon Humphrey ran over there. Boom. Knocked it out. We talked about this earlier this week, that Marlon Humphrey should be in serious consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. He definitely deserves to be, like, up there for sure, because he has been playing some amazing football. He's been catching a bunch of interceptions. He's been making a lot of plays. He's a really, really great player, man. He really is. So I hope that he is in least, because I don't expect him to get it, especially because Marlon Humphrey is not a very popular player. But I think he definitely should be in consideration for it for sure. Because he is just lights out kind of football, man. He really has been. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that'd be nice if we can get a nice little surprise with a new Defensive Player of the Year, that being Hump. But we won't know till we know. Last but certainly not least, special teams. And special teams today was special because Justin Tucker, who I said after the Giants game when he made all 5-point after touchdowns, I said, hold on, I don't trust you yet, my friend. You still got a ways to go. Then in the Steelers game where he made not one but 2 field goals, one of them being a 51-yarder, I said, ooh, you trying to make me trust you again, but I still got to wait. But then in this game, they brought him out there for a 52-yarder, I believe. And they went right down the middle. I said, oh, man, JT, I'm close to trusting you. I'm not all the way there yet, but you may just be back, my friend. You might be. So I love it though, man. I appreciate it. It's just so good to see Justin Tucker making field goals. Obviously, y'all know how the season has been with him. Y'all know I've said it plenty of times that, hey, before the bye week, Ravens need to bring somebody. They need to. We knew that he wasn't going to get fired. We knew they weren't going to bring anybody in because Harbaugh already said they weren't going to bring anybody in. He said they didn't need to send a message to Justin Tucker. They said they know what he needs to fix. They say he knows what he needs to fix and that it was going to get done. But we kept hearing that week after week after week after week after week, and he kept missing. But they said, hey, less talking, more action. We ain't been hearing him say nothing about it, but he been making everything ever since that bye week. So it's been beautiful, very, very beautiful to see. He was even the kickoff specialist too, but didn't see Jordan Stout out there, I don't believe. Saw Justin Tucker. So that was really, 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 really nice. Appreciated it so much. Punt return. We did have our new guy, Steven Sims, on punt return. And I just knew that he was not going to call not one single fake catch because it was personal for him. It was personal for him because it was personal for the Texans. I do really think, and I said this during the live stream, that there was one punt where Texans special team, gunner, had just whacked him. I think he called for the fair catch. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but the ball hadn't got there yet, and that Texans special teamer just walloped him. And it was, of course, kick catch interference. But I think that their special teams coach said, hey, go send him a message. We'll take the 15-yard penalty. That's what it looked like to me. I don't know, but that's what it looked like. But anyway, with Steven Sims, that boy was like, look, this is my old team. They fresh off of cutting me. I got to make something happen. I really, really, really do. And he tried, and he looked like he's a little shifty now. I said, okay, Mr. Sims, I see you, my friend. So we'll see how that shakes out. I guess more next week. Desmond King, you might have lost your spot right there, my friend. And I think, even without Steven Sims haven't really done much, those fumbles, they just killed Desmond King. If you fumble as a return man, yeah, you're pretty much done when it comes to John Harbaugh. But yeah, special teams, they held up their end of the bargain. Like I said earlier, it was very, very nice to see all 3 phases of the game all contribute in a big way, because when all three phases do their thing, and we're not going to get every single game like that. Got to understand that football is tough. It's a team sport. Sometimes some players are going to be struggling. Sometimes they're going to be going through some stuff. Sometimes you're going to need other people to pick up the slack. It's not going to be like this every single week. We wish it was. That'd be great. If it was, Ravens would be sitting at 16-0 right now. But that football is not like that. It just doesn't happen like that all the time. But it's the games where it does, you got to appreciate them a whole lot more. And this was definitely one of them games. Ravens are sitting at 11-5 with a big chance next week to clinch the division. So let's see how things shake out. I'm so glad that the Ravens are even in this position in the first place. Obviously, most importantly, they are in the playoffs, so that's the number one thing right there. But to possibly be playing a game at the crib, let's see what these boys got.